Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Etheria Restart. In today's video, we have a treat. We have an early access Timaeuss Cup PvP tournament grand final in this video between God Doggos and Seishizo. Now, this was a series done by Timaeuss. He always organizes these things. I'll leave a link to his YouTube channel in the description. He also helps me cast this one as well. But there's also a ton of creators that got involved in this one. This video is just going to be the grand final. So if you want to see some of the other drafting rounds and stuff like that with the other creators and see their strategies, definitely jump over and take a look. But hopefully this gives you guys a good insight into what the competitive scene of RTA can look like in Etheria Restart. Had an absolute blast doing this one. Once again, a massive shout out to Timaeuss, massive shout out to all the other creators that got involved. I'll leave a ton of links in the description and the pinned comment for you guys to jump around. But don't forget that Etheria Restart is in pre-registration at the moment, so you can go pre-register for the game as well, and I'm definitely looking forward to it to release. But let's get into it, and apologies for my voice, been crook for a few days. All right, and here we are for the grand final. We've got God Doggos versus Seishizo in this matchup. Timaeuss, how are we feeling about this one? Really wrapped for these players to get into the final. Keen to see what they have to bring.
Yeah, I'm very excited because this is, of course, the best out of 5, and these players are quite well known in their community. E7 as well as some of the worst for their prowess in strategy, so I want to see what they're cooking.
Yep, and there we go. We have pre-bans. Now, these pre-bans are done blind, so they don't get to see what each other are banning. And God Doggo's picking up the Tiamat and Doki Doki, whereas Seishizo is picking up the Sanaya and the Doki Doki as well. So those 3 characters, because they've doubled up on the Doki, will not be obtainable by either player. And so let's get into the first picks. First one coming from God Doggos. And let's see who he decides to make on this one. There's a bunch of strong characters in this game, and he decides to go with Bayonton. Now, she is fantastic. Her ability to just really revive her entire team over and over again is fantastic, along with her offensive buffing as well.
And looks like the other team is going to start off with the Hell Kit. Again, very standard openers as well as bans, picking some of the best characters out there, and Hell Kit providing that team-wide immunity as well as barrier.
Yep, definitely. And then we were expecting it. Whenever you see Bayonton, the other player normally picks the Veronica because she can go ahead and steal those massive buffs that she gets and also apply them to her whole team. So very standard pick. Veronica always accounted to Hellkid and also Bayonton. But then we move straight along and we go ahead and pick ourselves up the free-to-play healer Ling Luo, who is a fantastic healer, along with the Henrik. Henrik being the counter to the Hellkid because we have the ability to strip and block buffs, which Hellkid has a massive shield that also provides immunity. So that is a pretty standard pick that we are seeing there.
And Hoyan comes out as the protected 3rd pick alongside Lily. That's going to be a super strong team combination. Hoyan, as we know, one of the strongest damage dealers, able to one-shot a lot of the characters if you don't have enough defensive stats.
Definitely the case. And then Lily being an absolute monster, especially when paired with things like Tiamat, who is banned, but also another great pairing for her is Hellkid, because every time she basics, she can bring Hellkid along to get a stun as well.
And we see the first SR getting through the draft, and that's going to be Viper with his RNG-based counter that's actually able to turn around the tide of battle at many occasions. I think this is going to be a secret pocket strat. I'm going to see how Shizo is going to react.
Yeah, definitely. He's a great SR. Definitely, if you're jumping into the game looking at some of those lower rarity units, he's a fantastic one. But also picking up the Selene in there as well as a great shielding type defensive character. And then the final pick going into Rahu with his RNG, like follow-up attacks, defense scaling. He can actually do some really big damage. And once again, another free character that we do get along the way in the game. And now we go for the bans, and it does look like it is going to be the bans of Viper getting banned. So God Doggo's losing the 1 SR character in the roster, and then also Seishizo losing access to the Lily. Okay, here we go. Game ready. Now, these games are often a little bit slow at the start. You know, we got a bunch of buffs to set up, you know, try and strip them and stuff like that. So we're going to kick it off with Hellkid. Once again, that shield he applies, not just shielding damage, but also while the shield is active, it does provide immunity. I'm assuming we're going to see the ultimate from Bayonton, which is going to give her whole team a big buff. But then she does also get that unique buff for herself, whereas she has stacks of it. She can revive allies with that buff, which is absolutely fantastic. And all it needs is for her to take a turn to do it. Then we have have the Veronica coming in, doing her big thing where she steals the buffs off a target and then spreads them as well. Now, they must be going to kill that Hendrik, because otherwise you normally attack the Beyonton and steal the flower as well. But, you know, we're still in that early phase, applying some immunity. Now we come up to Hendrik. He's got his big AoE, once again, with the strip, with the block buffs. And unfortunately...
it doesn't look like he stripped everything, though.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. Might be an effect accuracy issue over there, but I'm not too sure exactly what the play is. Once again, getting those passive shields out as well from Celine's not too bad. And once again, we are in this slow phase, but we could see some big damage here, because now we get the big nuker out, which is Ho Yan. So she's going to do damage to something. I'm assuming they're Henrik, because they stripped him in advance. And there we go. That was with a basic attack. That wasn't even her ultimate. Her ultimate shreds, but that was a basic attack. You can see the potential here.
Yeah, so you can see that from the side of Sishizo, he definitely is going to put a lot more pressure through with even Hell Kid offering that CC, Hoyan doing massive amounts of damage, and later on scale with Rahu, whereas from Doggo's side, only Henrik kind of providing that AoE cleanse, and we really, really need Henrik to do damage, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough.
Yep, and there comes the power of the Hell Kid. That stun, just on his basic attack, it's only a 50% chance, but hey, that can really turn the tides of a battle by getting a few of those good basic attack stuns. The combo of the shielding and the immunity plus those stuns is really what makes him a force to be reckoned with. Okay, we get the cleanse up. We get the cleanse on the Henrik. That's handy.
Yep. And he's going to try to AoE Dispel one more time and see, yes, this time it went a lot better. We're getting the shields off and all of these buffs are gone as well. But we can see that the shield is still up on Ho Yan, which scares me quite a bit, because once it's her turn again, she's probably going to one-tap that Henrik.
Yeah, and now it looks like we're trying to see what's going on with the buffs to decide what we're going to do. This AoE is just a debuff of crit rate and attack, I believe it is, off the top of my head, whereas the basic attack does have a chance to lock out passives and stuff like that. It's only a low chance you can get like poison, lockout active or passive attack, so going with the basic on that one, which makes sense. Once again, getting the kill on the Henrik, very, very good. That's the sheer power that we have there through those follow-up attacks that you don't know 100% when they're going to happen, but that's kind of the thing with RTA. You just got to play with some bit of RNG, and that Rahu is great at it.
Yeah, and now it's Beyonce's turn, and after she takes a turn, there should be a revive coming out because of the passive. There we go, Henrik is up once again, and he needs to put in a lot of work because this entire team rests on him to do the damage for God Doggos.
Definitely, and that's where you can see the power of the Beyonton with her ability to keep doing that. And there you go, he comes back, he's gone straight away. The Ho Yan with that massive ultimate, just doing so much damage.
I can see why Ho Yan is a lot of people's favorite. I mean, her playstyle and her art design is absolutely gorgeous, and just casually one-taps the character once they come back.
Yep, definitely. And the thing is, though, with Beyonton, he's going to come back again, and that's kind of the power of Beyonton in especially these RTA type matches. It does make the matches very long, especially when we're running a lot of supportive type characters. But yeah, she's just very powerful in bringing her team back and just keeping them going.
Yeah, with the other team having Veronica, I think it will eventually get into a point where, you know, Veronica is going to strip and take the buffs away from Beyonton, and then the revive will stop happening, and Hoyo may find a chance to kill Beyonton instead.
Yeah, that's why I was interested with the first steal with Veronica, using it on the Henrik, because we could have done it on the Beyonton and probably still nuked Henrik through all the extra defensives that he had. So that was a very interesting one, but we'll have to wait and see if they shift that performance in a minute here.
Yeah, and don't forget that the Etheria PvP, the real-time arena, does have a time effect where the longer the match goes, you know, the character's HP, the healing will decrease, as well as enemies will start to deal more damage. So you're kind of on a clock there.
Yeah, definitely. There we go. We are getting pretty low on the team, though. When we look at health pools, it is looking pretty decent for God Doggos at the moment here. When we consider that... Okay, here comes Veronica. Let's see who it is going on. There we go. It does go on the Beyonton. Now she is no longer going to be able to revive, which is huge, until she gets more stacks of her flower. And the flower is very important for her, because without that, she's kind of lacking. And now the curious thing to be is, the unfortunate thing about this matchup is the Ho Yan does not have the advantage over over Beyontin, so not much damage coming out into that one. So it's going to be a matter of probably just trying to wipe out this Henrik. And then keep it away from them for a bit. But I don't know if we'll have the damage to actually get through the rest of the team in the time needed when we're kind of on a clock with this team with the HP pools for, say, Shizo.
Yeah, you can see that God Doggo's tanky team is actually working out much better than anticipated now because they're stabilizing, and even though Veronica just stole a ton of buffs, it seems like they will be able to slowly turn the tide because now Beyontin's ult is up and is able to make sure the revives are ongoing, and then once it's Heinrich's turn, he may be able to get rid of all these buffs that Veronica stole.
Yeah, definitely. So that is going to be an issue because now the revives are back in play again. So once again, these games, they become a very much a yo-yo of who's sustaining and who's trying to deal the damage. But at the moment, I'm liking the God Doggo's position at this stage. But never discount the Hoyan and her ability to absolutely nuke. Along with that Rahu, I do feel like we still do have a chance. And there you go. We get him down.
Just as you said it.
He comes back up, and there's that stun again. Once again, there is so much utility in that Hell Kid. If they can delete this Hell Kid, we're in play. But don't forget with Hoyan, don't forget her passive. If she kills someone, she will revive an ally. So that is a very important thing to consider as well.
Man, you can see Beyontin is just working overtime just in that short round of turns. Heinrich got revived 3 times, and we see the power of Rahu now scaling into the late game with that Animus, providing defense upgrade as well as a shield that is defense scaling. Look how thick that shield is, but it should be stripped. You can see it got stripped by Heinrich.
Yep, huge on the strip. Now, this is where I think Hoyan may get her chance to shine. She is low, but if they try and kill her, she will revenge unless she is controlled. And she will revenge and probably nuke something. So, and once she does, that means an ally gets revived. So I'm curious to see if we get a big Hoyan play out of this one.
Yeah, it seems like this is such a difficult fight now for Shizo because you're looking at 4 full health characters with buffs, and the Rahu is also down. Oh my god, it's all up to
Oh, here it is, here it is. Okay, so this is the play we were looking for. One-shotting.
Oh my god, no!
No way. That was huge. That was absolutely huge damage coming out there. Looked like some form of the reflect damage that the reflect damage from the shield that is applied by the Selene is what caused Hoyan to die, which then procced her cheat death follow-up ultimate, which then also the shield reflect damage caused her to die again. I believe that is what happened. It was tough to keep up with that, but that is crazy amounts.
Yeah, that was a 2-for-1 exchange in the end, and the last person standing, of course, is Veronica, and I think she's got this because of her HP scaling second skill. If she can look at that, taking out the last damage dealer from God Doggo's team.
I think that, dude, that was a massive turnaround. I am so glad we got to see that performance from Hoyan. I'm not too sure why the revive didn't occur with her. Maybe it was because of the missed timing on that, the fact that she got killed and procced her cheat death again and then got killed again. So she didn't stay around to actually proc the revive from her passive. I don't know if that's what's happened, but it's something I've never seen before. And it seems like, kind of reminds me of playing card games where there's a missed timing in there that didn't allow it to happen, but looks like it's not actually going to be an issue anyway because it's just this 1v1. It looks like Veronica just has it over.
Yeah, that was very, very interesting to see because I thought with the 2 kills, we're going to see at least 2 people getting revived from, say, Shizo's team. But hey, that was alright, and Veronica definitely will win this solo. I mean, just look at this. Stealing buffs, HP scaling, true damage, easy.
And first game, surprisingly, going to see Shizu. Let's jump into round 2. So round 2, the pre-bans, we have the pre-bans of, okay, we got Doki Doki, we've got Hellkid banned now this time. Then we also have the Tiamat. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to see any Tiamat plays in this one, and then the Sanaya again for this one. So let's jump in and see what they are going to pick. We got God Doggos picking first once again. So let's see what he decides to go for. Is he going to steal some of those characters that the other team had? Okay, picking up the Lily. Lily being one of my personal favorite characters in the game. So much utility. She does rely on a few good partners to pair with her, which two of the best partners in my mind are banned at the moment with Hellkid and Tiamat, but we'll see how it goes.
And Seishizo is coming out with the stable ban of stable pick of Veronica and Ling Lu. Very standard opener.
Yeah, very safe. You've got your heals locked in. The Veronica's always just very threatening with those that ability to steal buffs and spread them to allies. So definitely curious to see what we go here with God Doggos. Okay, there's the Beyontin. It worked really well for him in the last game. Definitely a safe pick for him. Is he going to steal any of the other picks, or is he going to go back to his own strategy? I'm curious to see what he goes with here.
So a lot of the times we see that a Beyontin second pick would line up with a third protected DPS pickup, which sometimes it's Hou-Yan to go with Beyontin, but we are going with Messiah this time.
Yeah, the one awkward thing about the Messiah is the other team does have the Veronica, which makes me think he might ban the Veronica because Messiah gives himself invincibility, and if Veronica decides to steal that invincibility and spread it to her whole team, that is a massive momentum shift.
Yes, absolutely. And I think Seishizo knows that the Veronica is probably going to get banned. That's why he's picking up the Heinrich to strip that invincibility.
Yeah, and then Rahu as well, who obviously put in work for him last time. And could we be seeing the Lilith pick over here? Okay, so Lilith, nice first time we're seeing that in these rounds as a pick. She has the bombs. She has complete reset for a turn meter. She has slows as well. She's the kind of one I would never normally bring into round one of a game, just because she does rely entirely on the other team not having those immunity. And once you see that there is no immunity that they brought, now you feel pretty safe to bring something like a Lilith in. And then also sniping the Hou-Yan, who put in so much work in the last game.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very aggressive team. You've got Lily that's going to be able to provide extra turns to the rest of the team, as well as Lilith manipulating the other team's actions. So paired up with Hou-Yan and Messiah, it's going to be a quick one.
I actually really like this God Doggo's team. I think last round he didn't have enough offensive pressure. He realized that, and he's gone full offensive in this one. So I'm keen to see who the bans are. Once again, looks like he is going to ban the Viper from Seishizo. Unfortunately, that means we aren't going to see the effectiveness of this Viper if he does decide to ban that. No, we are going to see it. Okay, he decides to ban the healing from the other team. That's going to make things definitely on a clock for the other team. And let's see who the ban is. And then we have the Lily ban. Okay, this is still a very threatening team from God Doggos, and it's the one I like the most at this stage, but let's see how it plays out.
I like it. This is going to be very, very fast. Revives are available for God Doggo, but the other team now has no sustain. So let's see. We're going to open up with Heinrich, and this is going to be an AoE strip and buff block. Oh, not blocking the Messiah, so he can technically still get that invincibility.
Yes, but it's a matter of if he wants that invincibility, because that is just going to get taken away straight by the Veronica. Although Messiah is last in the turn order, meaning Veronica does have to move before him. So it is a bit of an awkward timing for that one. So let's see how this pans out. Oh, but he did boost. Okay. So Messiah going in and getting the damage. It is a lot of damage too without healing though. So that is a very interesting one. But as you can see, the Veronica is just going to go ahead and yoink that invincibility and spread it to her entire team. And that is the one threat of the Veronica against the Messiah.
Yeah, it's quite, you can see that Beyontin, God Doggo was struggling with Beyontin's decision of using which skill because everyone has buff block besides, of course, Messiah. So he decided to push Messiah, but of course now the invisibility is now spread to the rest of his team for Seishizo.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we could only place one bomb due to immunities, but we do get to place the bomb on the Veronica and then also reset her turn gauge and stun her. So she's basically locked out for 2 turns from this point forward.
And this Rahu is just following up with every single attack coming out from Seishizo's other characters and doing so much work. But we see the Hou-Yan, look at that.
Unfortunately,
with invincibility
must have forgotten about the invincibility there. That's a bit of a missing the buffs that are applied, because yes, that was a very important one that the invincibility was on. And once again, that stealing of the invincibility from the Messiah has kind of completely shifted the whole tide of this battle.
Yeah, I think what God Doggo potentially should have done is just actually wait for Messiah to take his turn as the last character. But you can see that Beyonce, the powerful Beyonce, is going to be able to revive the two characters, and we'll see which one is going to be revived first.
Now, unfortunately, we can't see her stacks here, which is a very important thing to know whether... Yeah, okay, so that was the targeted revive because she had no stacks because they were stripped from the Henrik. But here comes the revenge of the Viper. So that's the RNG of Viper, getting that revenge in as well. Messiah straight back down. Okay, now we might see the Beyonce magic. If we don't get Beyonce wiped out this turn, we could see her use her ultimate, get, I think it's 2 or 3 flowers, and revive most of the team. So I'm curious to see. Unfortunately, no, and it does go down. All right, so we are back for round 3. Now, this is a best of 5, so if Shizo wins this one, it is going to be the end of it, and he will be the champion. So we have the bans in place, which is once again same as the first game. Oh no, it's different. We now have Hellkid banned with Doki Doki and Sanaya.
And you see that first pick, Tiamat, instantly, 2 seconds in. Maybe we'll see her in action, but I think pretty much Tiamat, a pick, a ban, either of the two.
Yeah, Tiamat just feels super powerful, especially in this in this RTA type meta. So I do think we will see her banned. I hope we don't, because I really want people to see the power of the Tiamat. My favorite character in the game. I love form changes. Then coming in with the Veronica. Obviously, Veronica just being a really safe pick, always going to be strong against anything, and then Ling Luo to get your healing locked in. Now, this is the interesting part where, once again, the third pick is safe, so we get to choose someone that we don't allow to get banned. So I'm curious to see what we actually pick for this one. Once again, Viper getting that pick, which is really nice. Or Hendrik, okay, and then protecting the Viper. No, okay, he keeps changing his mind. Not too sure what we're going to go here. Is he going to protect the Beyonce? It's a bit of a decision time.
He wants to... Yeah, either Rahu, Beyonce, or Viper. I think it's going to be one of the 3. Struggling a bit because I think normally...
I'd be tempted to do the Lily there.
Oh, okay. Here comes the Beyonce.
Yeah, Beyonce getting the safe pick. And then Henrik getting the safe pick over on the Seishizo team as well. Okay, not too bad there.
That's just a hard counter from the safe pick to the safe pick.
Yep. So let's just... It is really nice, but once again, I'm going to have to see how this pans out. I do think that God Doggos has almost got a really good setup here, because the last 2, he can put in some real threats that are going to be hard to choose to ban. Okay, the Hoyan coming out is a very big play there, because that is going to offer a lot of power to that team, where God Doggos is going to need another damage on this team. Really need another damage, because if that Tiamat gets banned, we're kind of out of options for dealing that damage.
I agree, and I think having a Tiamat peg is almost guaranteed that the opponent will ban your Tiamat, so your 4 remaining slots are pretty much secured, and I would personally be interested in picking up a Beyonce plus, scaling damage dealers that will essentially just outlast the opponent, because you've got a free Tiamat ban for the opponent. Okay,
picking up the Lilith as well. A bit of control along with damage. Once again, immunity is going to be an issue, and the other team does have the Ling Luo, which does have cleansing and immunity. So maybe the Ling Luo going to be the ban, but then you have the threat of that Hoyan to just sort of shred through. We do have the revives, but I'm honestly not too sure what's going to go on this one. I'm very curious to see how this plays out. Okay, we are banning that Hoyan. It is a massive threat, but it just means our Lilith feels a little less impactful because of Ling Luo being on the other team. And once again, we do have the revives with Beyonce, but we don't have much else sustain in the team. So I'm curious to see the way this one pans out.
Yeah, personally, I do like Shizo's draft a lot better in this instinct, and you can see that Lily is going to go first, and we can see how much of a godlike support she's able to provide.
Okay, and Lily, you do have the 2 options. You have the option to boost a single ally to get them to move before the rest of the team, or you can try and increase the opposing team's cooldowns and lock them out of those abilities. So it's often a tough decision with Lily on which one you're actually going to do out of those 2 options. The cool thing about Lily is that, if she does use her buff, then she is able to bring an ally with her to attack. We went with the option of trying to increase those cooldowns. We missed it on the Veronica, which is a little bit unfortunate, but let's see how this pans out.
we need to check that Seishizo's Rahu is not cheating, because that guy has been following up and countering pretty much every other turn, just putting so much work, and he's just going to get stronger and stronger as the game scales later on.
Definitely. Okay, so we're picking up those buffs. Now, the Veronica did already use her ult. However, she does have the Dragon Shell, which means she has her ultimate ready again. So she is now able to steal those buffs once again. So we're going with the
And it
Lilith.
looks like the Beyonce also has the Dragon, so she will be able to cast the skill if Veronica decides to steal.
You are correct there. Yes, that is very true. But I just don't... I just feel like this one, the momentum is with Seishizo, even though HP pools are favoring God Doggos.
Yeah, and you see that the defense down has already been applied to Viper, who is essentially the only damage dealer coming out. And I'm afraid this Rahu ultimate is going to do a lot of damage. Oh, look at that.
He does do some massive damage with that one. That is very, very threatening. We do have, obviously, the revives, so we're not overly stressed on that. So the revives are in place. It's just a matter of if Veronica decides to steal those revive capabilities, which is going to put us in an awkward position. But once again, as you mentioned, they both have access to their skill 3 again, so we'll have to just wait and see how this one goes.
It looks like God Doggo is pushing Beyonce so that she can buff or revive the downed Viper.
Yep, definitely. So we're going with that one. After the turn, we get the revive. We've still got 3 revives in that back pocket, and because we just used that ultimate again, I think this may be the part where we see the Veronica steal from the Beyonce.
For sure. I know that the last time Veronica used the skill 2 to take out a huge chunk of HP from the rest of the team, but now Veronica is definitely waiting for that S3 to take the buffs away from Beyonce.
Okay, buffing that Lily. Gonna buff into the Viper. Viper gets advanced. Now he gets his AoE in. And just not enough damage coming out of that one, unfortunately. And here it is. Here is the Veronica we telegraphed. Who did Veronica steal there?
Was that Lily that she stole out of? I couldn't catch the animation coming down.
I don't know exactly what happened there, but Beyonce still has 2 flowers, so 2 revive attempts still available. But once again, the immunity coming out as well. There's just too much pressure and sustain from the Seishizo team. I just don't know if we're going to have enough to come back from this one.
And you can see Rahu is starting to scale, triggering that defense buff from the Animus and getting the berry up. It's going to be kind of scary. And even though Beyonce resisted that Heinrich AoE strip, it's still not looking good.
Yeah, the Rahu with that shell works so incredibly well. It gives him such a chunky amount of shield, along with scaling his damage, which is absolutely fantastic. And just not able to break through that shield. Like, that shield is so powerful considering it's coming on an effective DPS unit and it's supporting an ally. It is crazy.
Yeah, that's why Rahu is one of the best late game scaling characters. A single attack taking out Beyonce as well. There's no more revive.
No more revives. I think that's just about it. There's not much to come back from here unless we got some crazy Lily procs where she kept getting an extra turn from her basic attack. We do get the revenge in there, but it's just not going to be enough. There's just too much chunkiness on the Seishizo team for this one.
Yeah, and there's that HP scaling nuke coming out from Veronica as well. Even if Viper starts to counter every single attack, it's not going to be enough, unfortunately.
Yeah, and he's limited on the amount of counters he can proc. He's only an SR at the end of the day. He can't do it all. So, unfortunately, that does look like the writing is on the wall for God Doggos. Down goes the Viper, and down goes the final Lily, and that is going to be the end of the game. But honestly, really, really good performance by both players, both getting here into the grand final. And God Doggo's not letting it go down quietly. He's going to make him take the final kill. And there we go. That is the game. So that is it. A massive congratulations to Seishizo for taking out the first Timaeuss Cup for Etheria Restart. Once again, God Doggo's great effort getting into the grand final as well. And to everyone else who participated, make sure you go ahead and check out their channels in the description below. We will probably be doing doing many more of these in the future. Let us know any feedback that you guys have. And also don't forget to go ahead and pre-register for Etheria Restart. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.